Goes in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Toes began smoothly. First time in forever is down on the inside. And Corporal Violet comes through at the rail. Delightful Laura is now quicker than all. And Delightful Laura has now cleared the field. Corporal Violet is in second, starts now. Candy Bar is in between those two. She's a little bit keen through the opening stages. Toes has settled beautifully in fifth, some 5 lengths off the lead moving into the first turn, with Royal Charter just inside of her, racing 2 clear of Miss Artois. Then comes Run a Mile in My Shoes, who's well off the pace today, racing on the inside of My Perfect Wave. 5 lengths back to Queen Sienna. Take Another Card is next, and the distant trailer, First Time in Forever. They run toward the half-mile pole, and it's Delightful Laura showing the way. Has it a length and a half to starts now. They are followed by Corporal Violet in third, and Candy Bar is just next to her, 3 lengths off the lead. It's another 3 to Royal Charter, racing on the inside of Toes. Miss Artois is next. My Perfect Wave has 8 lengths to make up. They are followed by Run a Mile in My Shoes, Take Another Card, followed by Queen Sienna, First Time in Forever. They have a quarter of a mile to go, and Delightful Laura is still there. Has it a length and a half. Candy Bar on the outside, tries to challenge. Corporal Violet is next. They are followed by Royal Charter, who's made it off the rail. Take Another Card far outside. My Perfect Wave is starting to storm home. My Perfect Wave and Royal Charter are coming after the leader, Delightful Laura. My Perfect Wave. That's 2 for Tim Yakteen in the first 3 races. Delightful Laura finished second. Royal Charter and Miss Artois was picking it up late. And they're off. Timekeeper's Charm in the center of the racetrack is going out for the lead, with Sexy Blue vying for a piece of it. Cayucos is in the mix through the opening furlong, moves up now to take second. Diva Cat is outside of them, now third. Then Wish They All Could Be. Sexy Blue, who broke well, is now dropping back. They are followed by Rizzleberry Rose, Cloudy Rose, and Honey Bucket is in that group too. Down at the rail comes Brookie's Gal. Miss Practical is 6 lengths off the lead, while racing in between rivals heading into the far turn. Just outside of her comes Clubhouse Bride. It's a break of 3 back to Sexy Blue. Perfect Life is now second to last, and that leaves Buds and Suds at the back of a strung-out field. They're coming to the quarter pole, and Wish They All Could Be is making a 3-wide bid to come battling with Cayucos. Timekeeper's Charm is down at the rail. Back to third. Rizzleberry Rose is in fourth. They're at the top of the stretch, and Wish They All Could Be has the lead. Cayucos head and head with Timekeeper's Charm on the outside. A late run from Diva Cat trying to get into it, as is Miss Practical, who's finishing best of the rest, but no match for Wish They All Could Be, and Mirko DeMuro scoring by 3. Miss Practical was second. Photo for third went to Timekeeper's Charm in front of Diva Cat and Clubhouse Bride. The Crocodile. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Matthysse Mile. Tempest Volat sprints out of the gate to take the lead. Friendly Confines has early interest, and Namarone is in between horses. Hiding in Honduras is down at the rail, close up, and now taking third. In fact, having to steady a touch off the heels of Tempest Volat into that turn. Geometry is second to last, leaving Lyle the Crocodile at the back of the field. Rounding the first turn, and it's Tempest Volat setting a sensible pace. Leads it by 2 lengths as they swing onto the backstretch over Friendly Confines, who's in second, just shading Hiding in Honduras. Here's Namarone. The heavy favorite is in fourth, 3 lengths off the lead, racing 2 clear of Geometry and Lyle the Crocodile. They're heading to the half mile in the Matthysse Mile. And the lead belongs to Tempest Volat, left alone up top, leads at 2.5 lengths over Friendly Confines. Hiding in Honduras continues to keep pace in third. Flavian Pratt and Namarone in fourth, joined on both sides. Lyle the Crocodile down at the rail, and Geometry outside of him. But Namarone is doing better than both of those as he makes his move around the far turn, has to get to Tempest Volat with 1/4 mile to go. Tempest Volat, Friendly Confines, Namarone on the outside, then Hiding in Honduras with 1 furlong left. Tempest Volat still going on very willingly, maintains a 1.5 length lead. Friendly Confines, here's Hiding in Honduras with a big late run. Hiding in Honduras or Tempest Volat, here's the line. Hiding in Honduras. What a ride from Antonio Fresu, nailing Tempest Volat right on the money in the Matthysse Mile. Guy Junior Stakes. Scratch number 5, British Isles. Bartoldi completes the lineup. We're in the gate. And they're off in the Lefit Pinkai Jr. Bartoldi broke inward very sharply. Vodka, here's Bartoldi sprinting up on the outside, and Nisos holds his ground down at the rail. Nevada Beach is just behind this trio, 3 lengths off the lead. On the outside comes Indispensable, who obviously didn't have a smooth beginning, and then comes Cornishman at the back of the field. Around the first turn, it's Vodka, prompted by Bartoldi, a neck back second. Flavian Pratt and Nisos drafting in behind them in third, only a 1.5 or 2 off them. Then Nevada Beach between horses and Indispensable, these 5 covered by 3 lengths, and 2 more to Cornishman. Less than 5 furlongs to travel. Kentasormo and Vodka, 1/2 length to Bartoldi in second. Then comes Nisos, racing as a team with Nevada Beach. Indispensable just outside of them. And another 2 back to Cornishman. No change into the far turn. Vodka, Bartoldi a head away still in second. Nevada Beach and Nisos right together. Nevada Beach taking third. Indispensable is 5th, losing ground now, and 4 more to Cornishman. Bartoldi has the lead with 1/4 mile to go. Now Nisos has a clear shot between horses and Nevada Beach, widest of all. Vodka is back to 4th. There's 1 furlong to go. Nisos takes the lead. He has to deal with friendly fire once again in the form of Nevada Beach. The stablemates come past the 16th pole together. Nisos and Nevada Beach in a Lefit Pinkai Jr. thriller. And Nisos knows where the wire is and scores by a nose. Nevada Beach did everything but win. Bartoldi finished third. Lefit Pinkai Jr. makes the presentation to Team Nisos, winner of the Lefit Pinkai Jr. Stakes. In the gate. And they're off. Ballyvon bounced out and sprints quickly to the front. Proof He Rides has some early interest too and moves up to be a clear-cut second as they run down the hill. Just outside of him comes Mescalero in the mix early, as is Mucho del Oro, flashing his customary early foot. Sneaking Candy is down at the rail, taking 4th. That group is followed by Legitimate. Winning Patriot is racing in between horses, about 7 lengths off the lead, as they race past the half-mile pole. Anmer Hall in the pink silks is down at the rail. Yakovlev in the white is passing a couple of rivals. He's currently just outside of Litigation. At the back of the field are Hot Rocket in the green, racing 3 in front of I'm Gonna Be Somebody. And Anmer Hall is the trailer. As they reach the top of the stretch, it's still Ballyvon with the lead. As Proof He Rides takes aim on the outside, these 2 dominating thus far. Mucho del Oro among the lineup, along with Yakovlev, who's starting to finish nicely. They're coming to the 16th pole. Kyle Frey asking Proof He Rides on the outside. Yakovlev is really picking it up late. Proof He Rides, Yakovlev, and Ballyvon. Proof He Rides scores. Yakolev was second. Bally Von Gig held third. Multiple horses in the battle for fourth, including Katona and Hot Rocket. The 7th is official. The 8th is the Labraa Stakes, presented by... Last few to go up now. Formula Rosa. Silent Law to the outside. And they're off. It was a clean start to the Labraa Stakes, presented by Don Julio. And Silent Law is sent out for the early lead. Brilliantly taken in hand through the first through jumps. And Matthysse Mile moving through along the inside now to take second. Shill Fleet is trying to get into the race early. And down at the rails, Simply Joking in fifth. 5G and Usher are next. Formula Rosa not quick into stride, is 7 lengths off the pace while 3 wide, a length and a half back to her left. And so there she was, is at the back of the field. They have passed the half-mile pole. It's Matthysse Mile prompted by Silent Law and neck away in second. Then comes Brilliantly, has to go after the top pair now into third. Simply Joking, Shill Fleet, and Usher is in between those two. That group separated by only 3 lengths. Formula Rosa trying to kick in now with the light blue cap, has 4 to find. They're followed by Her Laugh. So there she was on the extreme outside with a quarter of a mile to go. And Usher has come to take the lead and pulls clear with a furlong left to go. It's Usher putting on a show with a 4-length advantage. Out in the center, Formula Rosa at the rail, Simply Joking. But the Labraa is a 1-horse race. Usher all alone in a dazzling display. Romps home by more than 6 lengths. Formula Rosa second. Simply Joking third, photo for fourth between Her Laugh and Brilliantly. Juan Hernandez, the perfect passenger as Usher dominates. Renegade, and they're off in the San Gabriel. Astronomer began well. Cabo Spirit on the outside is now moving up to battle for the lead. Nesso's Last Hurrah, though, is in front. So it's Nesso's Last Hurrah by the stands with Cabo Spirit very wide, eager, and now going up. Those two on even terms. Astronomer will get a Dream Trip in third. They're followed by Stay Hot. Fort St. Anthony is next. It's another 2 lengths back to the next flight. And on the inside, it's a very eager Mondego and Suchet right next to that rival. 3 more lengths to Endlessly, who races some 15 or more off the leader. An unhurried 911 Turbo follows that one. 2 clear of Flashiest and Twirling Point. Strung out over a lot of ground as they move on to the backstretch. It's Cabo Spirit bounding clear by 4.5 lengths. Nesso's Last Hurrah second by 3. Astronomer and Jose Ortiz racing third. They're followed by St. Anthony as they come to the half-mile pole. Stay Hot and Suchet are next to one another. 2 clear of Mondego. Endlessly is next. Then comes 911 Turbo, Flashiest, and Twirling Point continues at the back of the field. Rounding the far turn, Cabo Spirit and Mike Smith. 2-length advantage on Nesso's Last Hurrah in second. Astronomer can wait no more. He starts to move in. St. Anthony will be 4 wide. Suchet 5 wide, turning for home. Stay Hot is next. Flashiest in the pink. They're coming to the furlong pole. And on the outside, Astronomer comes to Cabo Spirit. Cabo Spirit will not surrender. He keeps digging in. Mondego is coming with a late run along the rail. Suchet in the center of the course, but Cabo Spirit as brave as they come. Cabo Spirit all the way in the San Gabriel. Astronomer was second. It's a tight photo for third between Mondego, who ran well, along with Stay Hot. Up next, the Malibu. Grade 1, scratch 2, cut favorite to the outside stall. Renegade. And they're off in the Malibu. And it was an even start. Smooth Cruisin' gets the first call. Midland Money immediately joins him, and there goes Mattysse Road along with Modus Bestia. So Modus Bestia is now the quickest. Mattysse Road will get a good trip right off his flank second, and Midland Money is third, 2.5 off the lead. Smooth Cruisin' is fourth. Another 3 back to Speedy Wilson, followed by Berlin Wall, and Goal Oriented is outside of them. Modus Bestia passes the half-mile pole with a half-length lead, hounded by Mattysse Road alongside, and Midland Money by himself in third. Speedy Wilson inches up on the inside of Smooth Cruisin'. Joel Rosario now asks Goal Oriented to start running. He's got 5 to make up on the new leader, and the new leader is Mattysse Road, who's cruising to the quarter pole in front by just under a length. Midland Money is trying to challenge him now in second. Goal Oriented on the far outside, winding up, and Speedy Wilson running a good race. They're coming to the 8th pole. Midland Money on the inside, Mattysse Road, and Goal Oriented with those big, ferocious, powerful strides at the 16th pole. Goal Oriented takes command late, and it will be Goal Oriented. Grade 1 achieved for Goal Oriented in the Malibu. Midland Money was second. Speedy Wilson a solid third in front of Mattysse Road. Race 11 will close out this amazing card. It's the American Oaks presented by Cy Games. Number 4, Ambaya, the jockey Kazushi Kimura. They'll be at the gate in 21 minutes. Ribbons coming up for the American Oaks presented by Cy Games. And they're off in the American Oaks presented by Cy Games. And Will then sprints through on the inside with Ribbons and Cliffs prominent in between those two as they cross the dirt and get to the main course. And it will be Ribbons on the outside, intent on getting to the front. At the rail, Will then Cliffs alongside her. Then comes Slick, and Mbaya is down on the inside, 4 lengths off the lead with a lap to go. Totally Justified is next. Resolve is just inside of her. That pair is followed at the rail by 1,000 Miles. Take a Breath is next. And the 2 trailers at Scylla and As Catch Can. Moving into the first turn, and it will be Ribbons showing the way. Ribbons has it by 1.5 lengths. Jose Ortiz and Cliffs gliding along in second, and Will then is down at the rail racing third. Then Slick, followed by Mbaya in 5th. They are followed by Totally Justified on the outside of Resolve, 1,000 Miles. Inside of that one is Take a Breath, who's now 8 or 9 lengths off the lead. She is just now about a length behind Resolve. 1,000 Miles is 1 length in front of As Catch Can, and at Scylla is still at the back of proceedings. Less than a half mile to travel in the American Oaks presented by Cy Games. And Cliffs is poised to pounce on Ribbons into the far turn. And there she goes. Cliffs on even terms. Ribbons is down at the rail. Just in behind them, Slick is running in third. She is on the outside of Will, then 4th. Then comes Mbaya looking for a way out of there. A wide bid coming from Totally Justified in the blue with the white gap as they come to the furlong pole. In behind her, Take a Breath with 1 furlong to go. It's Cliffs in front. Mbaya splitting rivals. Will then on the outside. Mbaya is running a giant race and puts her head in front close to home. And it is Mbaya and Kazushi Kimura to win the American Oaks presented by Cy Games. In second was Cliffs. Cliffs ran her heart out. Behind them, Will then and Take a Breath was rolling late. Late pick 3, 567.90. Note that there is a late pick 3 consolation with the late scratch of Cornucopian. The pace 318.60. Pick 4, 464.65. Pick 5, 5,132 even. Super high 5, 29,839.10. In the pick 6 today, 6 of 6, good for 13,800.
As you can see, we have a very, very special guest sitting next to me who I'll introduce in just one moment. But before I do, I would be very remiss in not thanking each and every one of you for making opening day yesterday a spectacular success. Over 40,000 people, including my seminar guest today, was in attendance here, and over $17 million was wagered on the 11 race card. There was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and of course, great racing, which is what this is all about. So thanks to each and every one of you for making that a success story that it was yesterday. But that's turf history. We've got to move forward to today. And as you can see, I've got Lefit Pinkai Jr., the living legend, as my seminar guest today. Not only is he spending 40 minutes with us right now during the seminar, but he's celebrating all day long his 79th birthday. Come on, Lefit, you're not 79, are you?
No, I don't feel it.
You don't look it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
What's the secret to the fountain of youth? What do you do that other people your age look, a lot worse than you do?
Well, throughout my career, I did so many different diets, and at the end, I started doing a very healthy diet.
Sure.
That I think it helped me a lot, not only in my riding career, in the last few years of my career,
Sure,
but after I retired, I kept on doing it.
Now, there's a story out there. You and I have talked about this before, Laffit, that D. Wayne Lucas told a story that you and him were flying first class and the stewardesses brought out the meals and you took one peanut out of the bag and put it on your tray and cut it up into pieces. And that's the only thing you had the entire flight. But you tell me that's hogwash.
Well, I don't remember that. I don't remember that, but
But you do watch what you eat, obviously.
Oh, definitely. I think dieting is very important. Even, you can do all the exercise that you want, but if you don't have a good diet, you are not going to lose the weight that you would like to be.
Do you still exercise?
Oh, yeah.
What type of exercise, Laffit?
I go to the gym. I do some cardio, and then I lift a little bit better weight, and that keeps me fit.
Well, you look fantastic, 79 years young, and I want to kind of walk down history lane with you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
But let's rewind the tape back to May 19th, 1964 in Panama. And here you are in the winner's circle aboard your very first winner. This was obviously many, many moons ago. There you are with the beaming smile. You were a young man. You remember that particular afternoon?
Well, actually, that wasn't my first winner. That was my first stake winner.
Wow.
That was the United States of American stake.
Okay, in Panama.
In Panama, yeah.
And obviously that's where you got your start. Your dad was a jockey.
He was a jockey.
Your mom didn't want you to follow in his footsteps.
She didn't want me. I had to fight with her to let me go to the races,
But she lived a very long life, and she saw the success you had.
Yes, she did.
Did she change your opinion at some point, or was she always still nervous about you riding?
No, she was always nervous. She when she used to watch the races on TV, she never watched the start. Mm-hmm. She watched when they were in the backside or something like that, But she was always nervous about the start.
Now, you've had multiple spills throughout your career. You've broken a lot of bones. You've told me the story before, but was it your collarbone you broke 12 times or something crazy like that?
Yeah, 13 times.
Wow. Do you feel it today? In other words, do you get any arthritis or any sort of aches and pains?
Not at all. Not at all. That's what I'm telling you, that my diet is working, because I don't have any. After I retired, yes, I had a lot of problem in my neck because of the fracture I had in my neck that I had to quit. I had to retire. And but after a while, I kept working on it and doing therapy and all that, and eventually it went away.
Do you miss riding?
No, well, and a day like yesterday, sometime, I wish I would have been on this horse.
Big crowd, good energy, race named in your honor.
Yeah.
That was a great race, right?
Yeah.
Nisos and Nevada Beach coming down the lane. We didn't know who would win.
Yes, it was. Great race. Great finish.
Lefit, before we break, real quickly, what made you such a strong rider? Of course, one of your legacies is the $2 bettor always enjoyed playing you because you never gave up, and it seemed like you picked horses up and made them cross the finish line first. What attribute did you have that maybe other jockeys didn't?
Well, I always tried to be very fit. Even when I was suspended or whatever, I tried to be very, very fit, and I always follow the advice that a professor in Panama, my teacher in Panama, when I was going to the jockey school, he told me, he says, all the time, be in good shape. Always. Don't never be out of shape.
Even when you were on the bench, you tried to stay in shape. Right,
yes,
right.
yeah.
Well, Lefit Pinkai still is in great shape, as you can see. We're just getting warmed up. We're going to walk down memory lane, talk a little bit more about Lafit's career throughout the history books. Also, we're going to put Lafit to the handicapping test, see who he likes on today's 9-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on today's Monday's card here at the Great Race Place.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast, the turf course rated firm. Note that the rail on the turf will be out 20 feet today. Here are the changes. It's the blinker note in race 1. It's the start of the early pick 5. Race 2, scratch number 4, Krista McAuliffe. Early pick 4 wagering is offered. The third is the Blue Northern Stakes. Number 2, Hypergamy, the jockey Misael Jaramillo. Misael Jaramillo rides number 2 in race 3, Antonio Fresu off his mounts. Race 4, number 1, Luby's Music, make the jockey Mirko De Muro. Scratch 4, That's All Right Mama. Scratch 5, Sparrow. 4 and 5 are out of the 4th, which does kick off the $2 pick 6. Race 5, number 3, Mr. Leisure, make the jockey Arad Ortiz Jr. The 5th race is the start of the late pick 5, as well as the all-turf pick 3 on races 5, 7, and 9. Moving on to race number 6. In the 6, scratch 3, B. Grayson, and note that 7, Bally Hooligan, the jockey is Flavien Pratt. Race 6 starts the late pick 4. The 7th is the beginning of the late pick 3. Scratch number 1, Imagination. Note that number 4, Flyover, will now be ridden by Juan Hernandez. Number 6, Motorious, to be ridden by Arad Ortiz Jr. Scratch number 7, Unconquerable Keen. The 11 and 12 will run. Scratch numbers 13, 14, and 15. Note that the jockey on 11 was just named Misael Jaramillo. Will ride 11, Awesome Rhythm. Scratch 13, 14, and 15. The 8th race kicks off the $5 late daily double. Number 3, the Gypsy Cowboy, make the rider Joel Rosario. And in the 9th, with super high 5 wagering, number 8, Isos, the jockey is Arad Ortiz Jr. Scratch 9, American King. Scratch number 12, Chapter 1. 9 and 12 are out, 11 does run. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. Let's get immediately back to this very, very special guest, the birthday boy himself. If you've ever watched a race at Santa Anita Park, you know his name. The living legend has graced us with his presence today. A warm welcome for Lefit Pinkai Jr. with Tom Quigley.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Lefit Pinkai Jr. It's our pleasure to have him on track today. He's celebrating his 79th birthday. And Lefit, before we went to break, we saw the first career stakes when you had in Panama, and then you decided to come to the United States. And one of the most instrumental people that convinced you to come to the United States was Mr. Hooper.
Yes.
You came to Arlington Park and you had great success early on. What was it about Mr. Hooper that convinced you to come to the United States?
Well, he had a friend over there that told him about me.
Okay.
And he said, well, why don't you bring him to Miami, to Florida, and work a couple of horses for me to see if I like him. So I went to Florida and worked a couple of horses for him, and he gave me a 3-year contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you ride originally in Miami, or then did you immediately go to Arlington Park?
No, I went right to Chicago. Yeah. And I was doing there very well there. And then we went to Hawthorne. And I think I ended up leading rider in Hawthorne. And from there, he was sending his horses to California. And my agent was from New York, so he said, what do you want to do? You want to go back to California and wait until the meeting it starts over there? And I said, how long is that? They said, about a month and a half, 2 months. As I said, I can't be without riding for so long. I will get too heavy.
Sure.
So he said, okay, you go with me to New York and let's try over there. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. So I ended up winning my first race in New York, first mount. I winning my second mount, and from then on, I was fighting for leading rider. You know,
name some of the riders you were competing back in New York. Angel Cordero, of course, comes to mind.
No, Cordero came later. It was Baeza, it was Johnny Ross,
Jacinto Vasquez, maybe.
No, Jacinto wasn't there. No, he was in Jersey.
Did they embrace you, or were they like, "Who's this new kid? Let's get him. Let's ride him out of town"?
No, they were good. Icasa was there, yeah, and Papito Agustines was there, you know, and it was nice. I was so proud to be in, because Aqueduct Racetrack was supposed to be the best.
Sure.
It was the apple, you know, big apple.
After that month and a half, then did you go to California? You stayed in New York?
I came to California.
So you had a reputation by then. People started to hear about who you were.
Yes, because I won a lot of races in New York.
And did you do well when you came to California?
And then what it helped me the first day that I beat Shoemaker a nose on Rising Market.
Now you must have been nervous riding against Bill Shoemaker. He's your hero.
Well,
correct?
actually, I wanted to compete with him. Not that I knew that I was gonna someday beat his record,
sure.
You know. But I sure was it was an honor for me to ride against him, and I wanted to be here.
You're a competitor. I can just tell by the words you're using. You're a competitor.
Yes.
What about if we play tic-tac-toe? Would you want to beat me every single time?
Of course.
Now, Lefit, you had so many mounts throughout your career, but you're also on record that saying Affirmed was the best horse you ever rode. That's correct?
Very correct.
Why do you say that? In other words, of all the horses you could choose from, why was Affirmed the best horse you ever rode?
Well, he was very, very smart horse. Very smart, very competitive, and he could go any distance. And you could do anything you wanted with him. You could be on the front, or you can come from behind, you know. And every time I went to ride him, I trust him that he was going to break in front, and he was going to be no problem, you know. So it's such a plus to ride a horse like that.
Well, speaking of breaking and going basically wire to wire, the 1979 Jockey Club Gold Cup at Belmont Park was his final race of his career. Spectacular Bid was in the race. Let's take a look at the video of the stretch run of the 1979 Jockey Club Gold Cup with Lefit Pinkai on the lead with Affirmed.
On the outside, Affirmed on the rail. It's Coastal between those two. Spectacular Bid. Those three now across the track approaching the 8th pole. Affirmed once again draws clear by a length. On the inside, it's Spectacular Bid in second. Coastal is dropping back in third past the 16th pole. Affirmed on the outside takes this race. Horse of the Year, Affirmed in front.
1979, Lefit. What do you remember about that race?
Oh, I tell you what, I have never felt so much pressure in a race.
Really?
I'm going to be honest with you.
Really?
The publicity,
Derby?
We were going for Horse of the Year.
Okay.
The kind of a race that he was, you know, and it was a West against the East, you know, Shoemaker against Pincay, you know, it was a, and what I tell you, I think I rode really a good race, and Cordero and George Velasquez, my good friends in New York, they told me, for whatever you do, don't go inside. Don't go inside. So I
And
listened.
you followed their instructions.
Oh, yeah.
Affirmed had a habit of never changing leads, including that race. Did that ever bother you? Or just who he was?
No, you're talking about Affirm.
Yes.
Sometimes he stay in the wrong lead, Yes, yeah. But he as long as he saw another horse, he will fight.
He was just as competitive as you.
Yes.
Now, you did win one Kentucky Derby for Woody Stevens aboard Swale. What do you remember about that afternoon at Churchill Downs, Laffit?
Well, I remember that, for some reason, I had the feeling that was going to be my last chance to win a Derby.
You had ridden
I had
before.
that feeling.
Right. Swaps was one of them.
And before the race, I remember saying that prayer. That is a very famous prayer that I said that I said, I never ask you for God, I never ask you for anything. But today, if you can give me a little push, I really appreciate it,
Well, let's take a look at the horses that are turning for home for the Swale with the Lefit Pinkai aboard for his very first and only Kentucky Derby win.
Midway through the turning, Swale gets the lead, has it by a length and a half. On the inside, Althea second by a head, gaining ground on the outside. Here comes at the threshold. They're into the stretch. It's Swale in front by 2. In the center of the track, fight over. On the outside, it's at the threshold. Quigley now takes fourth. Then it's Life's Magic on the extreme outside. Gate Dancer with Valley Time. They're nearing the finish. It's all Swale. He's there by 4 lengths. On the outside, Quigley second. At the wire, it's Swale winning the.
Laffit, it looked like God listened to your prayers, because certainly coming from home, it didn't look like you had much danger. You won by open lengths. Yeah. What were you thinking the final 100 yards of that race when you knew victory was basically within reach?
Yes, I know. I was so happy. I said, I'm going to win my first Kentucky Derby, and I was so happy to cross the wire first, and then coming back and seeing 100,000 people cheering for you, and it was fantastic. That's the feeling that I always had.
It was a high that can't be duplicated.
Yes, exactly.
And traveling around the country, and you tell people that might not know horse racing, you're a jockey. The first question they're going to ask you is, how many Kentucky Derbies did you win?
That's
and you hated to say none.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Well, how good of a jockey could you be if you didn't win the Kentucky Derby?
Exactly.
But you had plenty of other chances. You finished second with General Assembly. You finished second with Rumbo. You finished second with Stevens Odyssey. You finished third with Caveat. You were close.
I was close.
You just couldn't quite get there.
I couldn't. Two of those for sure I should have won. I got in trouble in the race for sure. And then there was
Which
one.
two, Laffit?
On Rumbo.
Okay.
And Caveat.
Okay.
And then with that filly, the filly when I rode Rumbo, she wasn't supposed to run. And the owner made the trainer run her.
I see.
And she beat me.
I got you.
I can't remember her name, but great filly though.
Genuine Risk.
Yeah,
Genuine Risk.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. And lastly, Laffit, of course, at Hollywood Park is when you broke Bill Shoemaker's record aboard a runner by the name of Irish Nip. This was when you set the world record of 8,834 victories cross town at Hollywood Park. Let's walk down memory lane and listen to the stretch call of Michael Roma describe the action of Laffit's career record of 8,834 wins.
To the stretch, 3/16 to go. Pincay still got the head in front with Irish Nip. Laps and bounds about to drop off, but Quiet One represents big danger on the outside. Past the 8th pole, Irish Nip still a length in front. Pincay gets a whiff of immortality as Irish Nip is finding plenty on the lead. Responding to the Pincay power, it's Irish Nip surging clear of the entry at Hollywood Park as Lefit Pinkai Jr. becomes the winner.
Now, Laffit, you talked about the pressure of trying to win the Kentucky Derby. Do you feel pressure with all your friends and family there waiting for that elusive victory to happen?
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, well, yeah, you always listen. In a big race, you always have a little pressure.
Sure,
yeah,
of course.
Definitely, because especially if you own a horse that is supposed to win, you want everything to go perfect, and you know that sometimes things will not go perfect, and something can happen. You had a feeling, and you're just trying to stay to ride a clean race with no problem and all that. But sometimes you just can't avoid it.
Does your life seem like a dream?
Well, yes, he went too fast. Yeah.
But it shows that the American dream was alive and well, right? You could come to America, nobody knew who you were, and you became one of the most famous jockeys of all time.
Yeah. I was surprised because when I started riding, I didn't think I was going to be that successful. I just wanted a job to make a little money and help my mother. We were struggling. My mother was struggling, So I was so surprised when I started winning and winning and winning, and all of a sudden I got a contract to come to the United States. I'm like, wow, And then not only that, I got to meet some of the most famous people in the world at that time.
No doubt about it. You've got pictures
movie
to prove it.
stars and everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Farrah Fawcett. I mean, the list is endless.
Yeah.
Hollywood Park was kind of the
Elizabeth Taylor. You hear about. I heard about her for so long.
Sure. Truth be told, you wanted to be a professional baseball player. You wanted to be a baseball player as a kid, right?
I want to be a baseball player, but the coach told me, "You want to be too little. I don't be a jockey like your father." And I said, "I don't want to be a jockey." I was disappointed,
Sure.
So,
it's funny how life takes those twists and turns.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your children. Of course, the most famous one is your son, Lefit Pinkai III, who we see on the broadcasting team around the country. You must be very proud of him and all your children. Tell us about who they are and a little bit about, whether they're into horse racing at all.
Yes, I am. My son, he's doing so well, and I'm very proud of him. He never gave me any really problem, and he's very, very, he's a hard worker guy. He goes and work, and he's very prepared to go and work.
Did he want to be a jockey? Was he small enough to be a jockey?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he wanted to be a pitcher. A baseball
Another baseball
player.
guy.
But he got hurt very early, so he had to quit. But he started watching my tapes one day, and then he told me that I want to do this, and I said, go for it,
That's fantastic.
And then my daughter, she's got a saloon over here in Monrovia, and she cut hair. She's very well liked, and she got her people that follow her, and she's doing very well.
Does she cut your hair?
Yeah,
you got plenty left. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to keep it.
Lefit, we were going to have you handicap, and we certainly are going to have you handicap a couple of races. But being a jockey, before you handicap today's races, what was it like in the jocks room when you had to handicap? In other words, you would look at the racing form, I assume, pretty diligently, and then you would go out to the walking ring and listen to the the trainers and the owners maybe give you some instructions. How do you kind of work and filter all of that out, or include it maybe in your overall analysis?
Yes, well, there were a lot of times when I have planned a race. I say, I think I should try this horse this way. And then I'll go outside, and the trainer or the owner tells me that I should ride the horse a certain way, that I say that it's not going to run good that way, And when I wasn't doing that, there were times when I wasn't doing that well, and I would follow the instruction. But when I was doing really well, when I was getting like 2 or 3 mounts in every race, I did what I wanted to, because I didn't care if they take me off the horse, because I got others to ride, And those are the times that I won the most races, when I was using my own judgment.
But your success allowed you that liberty. Other jockeys who might not be winning wouldn't be able to do that.
Yes, exactly. Even when I was in those times when I wasn't winning any races, and I tried to do what the trainer told me. I didn't want him to get pissed off at me, riding the horse different than he wanted me to.
Lefit, in other sports like baseball and football and hockey, the current generation of players always seems to be better than the previous generation of players. Do you think today's jockeys are better than yesteryear's jockeys, or do you think the colony you rode in, I'm talking about in totality, not just specifically in Southern California, do you think the jockeys today are more talented than your generation, or do you think your generation was more talented?
Well, I tell you, I was running with 10 Hall of Famers in one race, So
we can name them all, right? Chris
exactly.
McCarron, Eddie Delahousie, Gary Stevens.
But I tell you, the jockeys of today, they take better care of themselves than the one of my generation. You can tell, you can see the way they ride. They're so consistent in the riding, and there's no question about it that they could ride any other time. You take a kid like Pratt, or right now you take this kid Hernandez. He's really a top rider, and I think they could ride with anybody,
They sure
Yes.
can. They're proving
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, let's take a look through a few of the races, Laffit. Who you like today? Of course, you've done the work. I emailed you the past performances a couple of days ago. So let's just kind of take a look, maybe at the first race, just as an example. And you're a good handicapper. I mean, you've proven that.
Not really.
No, you. I've been on other seminars.
I will lose my money when I come to Santa Anita.
Now you know how the rest of us feel. But let's take a look at race number 1. And by the way, before we even start, I want to ask you a question. The first race is on the turf course.
Yeah.
Did you find a difference between riding the main track and the turf course? In other words, is one maybe more tactical? Maybe the turf course being describe it for us.
The turf is more tactical. You have to be patient, and you have to know when to move, and and I think it's because the turns are a lot sharper. And you can get. I don't know so much now because there's not that many horses running sometimes, but in my time there were a lot of horses running, and you have to be careful on the turns, because that's when you can get in trouble.
Well, in race number 1 today, which begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5, this race is 1.5 miles on the turf course for fillies and mares, $25,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. We've got a field of 8. The heavy morning line favorite at 3-5, Laffit, is number 7, Alaramo from the Michael McCarthy barn, Flavian Pratt in the saddle. When you look through the PPs, who did you like and why?
Well, I like the number 7 in the first race. I think this horse, he have some last 3 races that been good. The last race, I think he got in trouble, and he finished really fast, and he looks better than the other horses. And I like the number 1 horse to finish second.
That would be Sakura Flavor. Just one statistic courtesy of Brad Free at the Racing Form regarding the current betting choice in Laffit's top pick, number 7, Alaramo. Whenever trainer Michael McCarthy and Flavian Pratt team up on the turf course, the last 5 years, they're 18 for 46. That's a 39% win clip. So certainly Michael McCarthy means business when he names Flavian Pratt to ride. 2 questions for you, Laffit. First of all, you mentioned Alaramo taking a drop down in class. He broke his maiden for 50. Now he's in for 25. Are you a believer of class? In other words, when horses either drop down or raise up in class, is class a real thing in your opinion?
Oh yeah, definitely. I used to love to ride the horses when they're dropping way down, and they might have a little problem, and but not a big deal.
Sure.
It wasn't a big deal to me. I just want to win.
But they feel better. In other words, when they're running against lesser competition, they're more like King Kong once they don't have to run against
definitely. Yeah.
And we talked about Michael McCarthy, the trainer here, Laffit. I'd be also remiss in the short time we have left not to have you say a few words about trainer Bill Sparr, because Bill Sparr to you near the end of your career was so important to you. Talk to us about your relationship with Bill.
Oh, definitely. He was a great help to me. I remember when I was going to go to San Francisco, I talked to him and I told him I was going to leave. And he's like, Laffit, I think I might get some good horses next year. I says, you should probably give it a try one more time, and I was definitely going to go.
Sure.
But at the same time, I have a little boy. He was like 2 or 3 years old.
And you didn't want to move.
Exactly. And I had a wife, and we've only been married for a couple of years, 3 years. And I'm like, it's going to be a lot of tough for the family, going over there and me coming back and this and that. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give it one more try.
And Bill was there to support you.
Yes, exactly. And then, Bill was a big support. And then pretty soon, that's when I changed my diet and I started eating very healthy. And then I started winning races. And then my career took off again.
And it was a lot of fun because you weren't expecting it.
Oh yeah, not at all, so. Let's
take a look at race number 2, Laffit. Well, we've got the time. Race number 2 begins the popular 50-cent early pick 4. This time we're sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track. Maiden special weight Calbred, 2-year-old filly. Scratch the 4, leaves us with a field of 6, including the morning line favorite on the bottom, number 7, Billie Holiday, who's 5-2 on the morning line. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Laffit, a question for you. Obviously, you had a long and illustrious career. How active were you in the morning exercising horses, maybe both early in your career and then later in your career?
In my career, I was working every day. I got up early. I go to the barn when I was on the contract. I go and work the horses on my barn, and then whatever else around it was, I did that for a few years. But as time went by, I started when I got home. And I ate something. I didn't eat a lot. I ate very little. I got so sleepy. I I needed the energy,
Sure.
So I wasn't putting enough in my body, so I was sleepy. And I had a wife, I couldn't just go home and go to sleep. So I had to give up on going in the morning, which it cost me.
Did you have problems maintaining your weight? In other words, was that another reason why you had a strict diet, or was your weight never really an issue?
No, my weight was a big struggle in my career. Big struggling. I was struggling with my weight. I mean, ever since I started,
And you had to overcome
that. And and it wasn't like I ate a lot. I always eating very, very little.
Sure.
But it still had to reduce we all that,
Sure, particularly as you get older.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's take a look at race number 3, Laffit. This is one of our 2 stake races on today's card. It's the Blue Northern Stakes, 1 mile on the turf course for 2-year-old fillies. As we remember from yesterday, Antonio Fresu suffered an injury, so he's off all mounts today. Make Mr. Hamarillo, the rider on number 2, Hypergamy. We've got a field of 6. The morning line favorite, number 4, La Vie Lumiere, once again for the Michael McCarthy, Flavien Prat tandem.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts on race 3 from a handicapping standpoint, Laffit.
Yeah, I like this filly, the number 4, La Vie Lumiere, with Flavien Prat. I think that she looks the best, And actually, I like number 2, Hypergamy, to finish second in that race.
Okay, number 4 and number 2. Number 1, Total Val, is an interesting long shot, Laffit. Yesterday, you might remember the horse, the filly that Total Val beat last time on November 29th was the runner who won race 1 yesterday. So certainly that bodes well for Total Val taking a step up in class, but certainly number 4, La Vie Lumiere, looks to be tough. One more race, Laffit, to get to before we have to say goodbye. You've got a busy afternoon planned. Race number 4 begins the $2 pick 6, always a popular wager here in Southern California. This is for maiden special weight fillies and mares, sprinting 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Scratch 2 horses, take out the 4 and the 5. That leaves us with a field of 6, including number 8, Into the Hall from the John Sheriff's Barn, who's 8-5 on the morning line. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Laffit, it kind of brings up a question. When I mentioned John Sheriff, of course, I immediately remembered Zenyatta, who was probably the best runner he's ever trained. Do you come out to the mornings much, either to Clocker's Corner or maybe walk around the barn area and shake hands with some of your old friends?
When now?
Yes.
No, I never do.
You only come in the afternoon?
Yes. Okay. When I come, come in the afternoon. Yes.
Okay. But Zenyatta was obviously a very, very talented filly.
Definitely. She was unbelievable.
Almost like an Amazon.
Yes. Yes.
Who do you like? Who do you like in race number 4, Laffit, from a handicapping standpoint?
I like number 7. I think I like her work. I like her work, and I think I pick the number 1 to finish second.
So 7 and 1, Congo is a first-time starter. Joel Rosario in the saddle for trainer John Sadler. And number 1, Luby's Music, a second-time starter owned by JMS Stable with Richard Mandela as the trainer. We've run out of time, Laffit, but we do have time to wish, on behalf of everybody here at San Anita Park, you a very, very happy birthday. I want you to make a wish, and I hope it comes true, because it's our honor to have you here today as a guest.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Laffit. Please make a wish.
That was great.
We know you're not going to eat that. That's for sure.
I might have a little piece, but
blow out the candle, Laffit. Show everybody you still got the lung power. There you go, Laffit. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a treat to have a living legend sitting next to me for the next 40 minutes. I'm very privileged to be in this seat. We're so happy that you decided to join us. You're an absolute credit to the game, the thoroughbred sport, the industry as a whole, and I hope you enjoy a fantastic afternoon here at the Great Race Place.
Thank you, Tom. Anytime.
Happy Laffit. Happy birthday, Laffit, and many, many more.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to all of you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Living legend Lefit Pinkai been our special guest this morning. Keep in mind, live racing resumes on Wednesday. We do take tomorrow off. It's the only day we're taking off. Live racing Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday card will start at noon with a 9-race card scheduled. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great afternoon and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the flagpole in the infield and ask that you please rise for our national anthem. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place where the track is fast, the turf course firm, and the turf rail is 20 feet out. Here are the changes. In race 1, first leg of the early pick 5, just the blinker note. Race 2, scratch number 4, Krista McAuliffe. In the third, number 2, Hypergamy, make the jockey Emisael Jaramillo. Emisael Jaramillo rides 2, Hypergamy. Turning to the fourth race, the start of the $2 pick 6, number 1, Luby's Music, the jockey Mirko de Muro. Scratch 4, That's All Right Mama. Scratch 5, Sparrow. 4 and 5 are out. In the fifth, number 3, Mr. Leisure, the jockey Irad Ortiz Jr. The all-turf pick 3, 5, 7, and 9, and late pick 5 kick off with the fifth. Race 6, scratch 3, B. Grayson. Note the number 7, Bally Hooligan, the jockey Flavien Pratt. In the seventh, the Joe Hernandez, scratch 1, Imagination. Note 4, Flyover, now ridden by Juan Hernandez. 6, Motorius, Irad Ortiz Jr. Scratch 7, Unconquerable Keen. Jockey for number 11, Awesome Rhythm, is Emisael Jaramillo. The 12 runs, then scratch 13, Feel the Magic, 14, Son of a Birch, and 15, First Piece. 13, 14, and 15 are out. Eighth, race 3, the Gypsy Cowboy, now ridden by Joel Rosario. In the ninth, 8, Isos, the jockey is Irad Ortiz Jr., scratch 9, American King, scratch 12. Chapter 1, super high 5 wagering is offered on the last. Someone did hit it yesterday. And note that the 11 runs. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. They'll be at the gate for race 1 in 27 minutes at noon. And they're off.
Welcome back to Santa Anita Park, day 2 of the newest meet here. I'm Millie Ball alongside Michelle Yu. Michelle, yesterday, opening day here, we had a crowd, the largest since 2016, which was just amazing, and you could feel it in the air. What was your highlight of yesterday, opening day?
I think, first of all, just seeing the crowds here really enjoying themselves. Over 40,000 people showed up to support Santa Anita yesterday, and I think everyone had a great time. I saw young people, old people, everyone was smiling and laughing, and the front side was packed to the brim, and everyone just had that palpable excitement. So I really enjoyed that. I think as far as on the racetrack goes, my only winning bet of the day was hiding in Honduras and Tempest Velat, so I was able to cash in on that very close exacta.
Right.
So from a monetary standpoint, that was it. From a fan standpoint, I loved the battle of Nysos and Nevada Beach. I mean, Flavian was super chilly on that horse for quite a while, but Nysos just ultra game in that victory. And I can't think of another Breeders' Cup winner that came back to run the same year, because generally when you win a Breeders' Cup race, that kind of just wraps up your championship year. I guess with him, maybe he didn't have a championship on the line per se, so maybe they were thinking like, oh, we'll just run him again. Maybe this is just a great stepping stone for his next races if he continues on to Pegasus and Saudi, not giving him any time off. But it's just so rare that you see those Breeders' Cup winners come back. I loved it.
It certainly was a fantastic day of racing. We've got another good race card on tap here on this Monday. And don't forget, we'll take Tuesday off. That will be a dark day, but we will return on Wednesday for racing. So Wednesday through Sunday is the schedule of racing for next week.
Get tied on.
Let's get ready with race number 1 here. 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf course. And Michelle, the turf has been upgraded to fast and firm course this afternoon for racing on the grass, which is great news. So let's look at this race. We've got an even money favorite in the number 7 on the outside, and that's El Romo for trainer Michael McCarthy with a tough post. So do you think that she's good enough to overcome that?
Well, she's going to be running at the right class level. She broke her maiden for the $50,000 level, and to me, if you break your maiden for a tag, you should cut that tag in half and come back non-winners of 2. Instead, they got a little salty on her and ran her in those starters protected, and she just didn't show very much. So this is a great level, I feel like, for her. You're going to get Flavian Pratt, and talk about percentages. Michael McCarthy and Flavian Pratt teamed together at 42%. So they know how to win races as a team. I think a lot of bettors are looking at that. Is she a walk in the park? Not necessarily. I actually am a little shocked on the price at the 5 Sweet Delta Dawn in here for Richie Baltus, because she broke her maiden special weight, which is better than breaking her maiden for 50. And she's been running against allowance foes and getting beat in those last couple by a significant amount. But this is a huge class drop into the 25 non-2. She's never been risked for a tag, much less a non-winners of 2 life. So I feel like this is a big price on a filly that certainly could win this race.
And her work on December 20th on First TV was super. I mean, she went a minute in that work, but she tried really hard. I love this sort of gutty effort she put in that morning. So Sweet Delta Dawn on the dropping class. To me, you're going to get a filly that's going to try, and she'll have to try a little less than she did in her last few races. Lady Lithesome. Now, I actually had to look up. I'd heard of the word Lithesome before, but I couldn't remember